Hi guys, so today we're going to be talking about how to read frequency tables, and I've taken the time and just pre-drawn them for you guys. So all a frequency table does is it tells us the frequency that data points appear within a certain interval. So here on our data table we have our interval here, we have the frequency that data points appear within that interval, and we have a percentage. So the percentage there, all that represents is just how often, what the percentage of the frequency, which we have here, what percentage of that frequency is of what the total is. So the percentage sort of gives you a better idea of the actual the relative amount of the frequency compared to, say, another frequency table of similar data, but that might have different numbers. So I know that was sort of a wonky explanation, but I think you'll see it as we get into it. So the first thing that we want to look at in our frequency table is the total, which should be down here. And I've left that out on purpose because you will get a lot of problems which have one or more of the boxes empty for you to sort of try to figure out the rest of the data. So in this frequency table, I've left out the total as well as the percentages so that we can work through them together. So if we wanted to work out the total number of all these guys here, all we have to do is add them together. So 20 plus 32 plus 17 plus 18 plus 13, I think you'll find adds up to 100. Okay? So I've done that beforehand, which is the only reason I know. I didn't do that in my head. So yeah, that's our total. So 100's a lovely, easy number to work with when we're talking about percentages. So the total percent of anything is always going to be 100%. No matter what it is, if you're talking about the total always has to be 100%. So to calculate the percentage frequency of each interval, what we first need to do, we need to find the total number, not the total percentage. Okay? I know they're the same, which might be a bit confusing, but for the percentage, we need to find the total number. Once we've got that, we need to get our frequency. So the first one here is 20. So we divide that frequency by the total. And then multiply it by 100. So as I said, with 100, it's lovely and easy because 20 divided by 100 is 0.2 times 100 is 20. So our first frequency percentage here is 20%. Okay? So for the next one, 32 divided by 100 times 100 would be 32%. And hopefully you're seeing a pattern here. Again, just because we're using 100 here, because it's nice and easy, our frequency is actually going to be the same as the percentage. So we can actually really easily fill in the rest of these guys here. Okay? So, nice and easy. Here's another one. So this time we've been given the frequency, 7, 8, blank, 25, and the total, which is 50. So if we wanted to find this blank number here, what we need to do, oh god, there we go. What we would need to do is get 50 and subtract all of the frequencies that we know from that. So we go, I haven't done this one ahead of time, go 50 minus 25 minus 8 minus 7 equals 10. Okay? So that's how we know our missing number is 10. And again, to find the percentage, we need to get our frequency. So the first one is 7, divided by the total, which is 50, and then times it by 100. So 7 divided by 50 is 0.35, I think. Hold on. 7 divided by 50, 0.14. Close. 0.14 times 100 is 14, so our percentage would be 14. 8 divided by 50, 8's the next one. 8 divided by 50 is 0.16 times 100 is 16. And again, hopefully you guys are seeing a pattern here. Because we're working with 50, because 50 is half of 100, the percentages are going to be double, because they're twice the relative amount. So 7, 14, 8, 16, what have I done? 10, well, 2 times 10 is 20. And then 50, and our total percentage, as always, is going to be 100. Just like that. Okay? So again, if we have a missing frequency, if we don't know what the interval of 10 to, I guess it would be 14, if we don't know what that interval is, all we've got to do is go 15 minus 25 minus 8 minus 7, and we're left with 10. And from there we can fill out the rest of the table. So there's one more thing I wanted to go through, which is creating a frequency table. So if we're given a set of data points, I've just written out a bunch here. What we need to do, we need to figure out an appropriate interval. Well, we know that the minimum is 1 and the maximum is 6. So our frequency table could easily just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. If you wanted to, you could probably go 1, and then 3, and then 5 to 6, like that. So this one will be 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, if you really wanted to. Let's do that one, just for fun. So let's get our total. So how many do we have in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, a lovely easy number to work with again. 10 in total. Again, our percentage is always going to be 100%. Usually you want to write your labels up here, but I've sort of run out of room on my tablet, so we'll just have to make do. So, just get rid of these guys. Here we go. Actually, we will have room now, I think about it. Frequency, percentage, and interval. Okay, so we've got our blank frequency table. We've figured out appropriate intervals. Now we just need to figure out the frequencies. So how many do we have between 1 and 2? Well, 1, 2, 3. How many do we have between 3 and 4? 1, 2, 3. How many do we have between 5 and 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there we have it. Well, that doesn't look right. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, not 5. Just 4. It's very late at night here where I'm doing this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 values between 5 and 6. And then we just calculate our frequency, our percentages rather. So our total is 10. Our first frequency is 3. We times that by 100. So 3 divided by 10 times 100, I think you'll find it to be 30%. And this one's the same, 30%. And 4, well, 4 divided by 10 times 100 would be 40%. Okay? So it's important for you to not only be able to read a frequency table, to understand that this interval means 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29. Ideally, you'd have those written in. I think I forgot to do that before. You can do the rest yourself if you like. So it's important to not only understand the interval, but to be able to understand that the frequency is how many data points fall between the interval, and the percentage is the relative amount that each interval has. That it's the relative amount of frequency of data points within that interval. also that you're always going to get 100% for your total frequency percentage, because the total of anything is always 100%. And to calculate the frequency percentage, you just go your frequency divided by 100, your frequency divided by your total times 100. So I'll just go through that one more time. To get the percentage, you go frequency divided by total times 100. Okay? We've also covered what happens if there's an unknown data point. You just get your total, and you'd subtract all other values from that total. So in this example, we went 50 minus 25 minus 10 minus 7, and we were left with 8, which means that 8 had to be left. If you're given a set of values, you can construct a frequency table. Your first step is to write an appropriate interval. In this case, we chose intervals of 2. We could have done intervals of 1 if we really wanted to. Doesn't really matter. I think that's everything I wanted to cover. Cheers.